Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
15 minutes with a captain. I'm Captain Zakar. To my right,
Soldier Joshua.
And today we're going to go over the topic of the delusion of inclusion. All right? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians suffer from that. So we're going to touch that topic here and cast down that imagination. Let's start out in Leviticus chapter 20. Let's read 24, and we're going to jump to 26.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 20 and verse 24. But I have said unto you, ye shall inherit their land, and I will give it unto you to possess it, a land that floweth with milk and honey. I am the Lord your God, which have separated you from other people.
God said, I separated you. All of us come from Adam. We understand that. We all bleed red. I understand that. But God said, out of all the people that came from Adam, it's one of them that I separated from all others. Jump down to verse 26.
Verse 26. And ye shall be holy.
And being separated, God said a requirement is you are to be holy. Read on.
Unto me. For I, the Lord, am holy, and have severed you from other people, that ye should be mine.
What does that mean? That means we are separated, severed from other people of the earth. That means we are going to stand out. You can't hide it. You can't try to include yourself into things that are not meant for you to be a part of. We are going to stand out no matter where we are on the face of the earth. Give me that in Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. Let's read it.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Yep.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
So we're separated and we're in the category of being special in the eyes of God. Go ahead.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Special people can't blend in. No matter how much they try, they stand out in the crowd. That's who we are as a nation. All the nations are lined up. Israel stands out. That's us. You can't blend in. Give me that Matthew chapter 5, verse 14 to show why you can't blend in. Let's read that.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 14.
Yep.
Ye are the light of the world.
We are the light of the world. Before we became intertwined with the other nations and wanted to be included into their delusions of the mind, we were that light that sat on the city of a hill that could not be hid. We are that light. We are the righteous of God, and everyone else on the face of the earth is the unrighteousness of God. Read that again.
Verse 14. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on an hill cannot be hid.
You can't blend in, so stop it. That's what God's saying. You can't be hid. You are the light of the world. It's something special, something different about you, about the way you walk, the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you look, the way your hair is made, the color of your skin. You can't blend in. You sat on top of a hill for all other people to look up and aspire to be like. And they do that today. Even in our wickedness, they aspire to be like the blacks, the Hispanics, and the Native Indians, who God calls the Israelites. Go to Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 21. Let's see what God said about us.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 2 and verse 21. Yet I had planted thee a noble vine.
A noble vine. You know what a noble vine means? That means you royalty. Noble means royalty. Whenever you look in the movies, it's always talking about, I am of noble blood. That means they are royalty. They got a lineage of upper echelon names and famous people and that descend from them. I am of that noble blood. Read that again, what God said about us.
Verse 21. Yet I had planted thee a noble vine, holy a right seed. How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me?
God says, how did you become a degenerate plant? How did you become less thereof? How did you become included in everybody else? when I made you to be special and separated from everybody else. Give me that in Psalms 106. Let's read verse 34 and 35 to show how we, being noble of royalty, became degenerate plants. Read that.
The book of Psalms, chapter 106, and verse 34. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them, but were mingled among the heathen and learned their works.
That means you learned Christmas. That's how you became degenerate. You learned Halloween. That's how you became degenerate. You learned birthdays and baby showers and Thanksgiving and everything else in between. God said when you learn the works of the heathen that you wanted to be included among, you lowered yourself. Noble blood does not mingle with the common folk, but the children of God do. They want to be just like the heathen. Give me that in Ezekiel 25 and 8. It got so bad that the heathen who knew that we were noble of royal lineage, look what they say about us.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 25 and verse 8.
Yeah.
Thus saith the Lord God, because that Moab and Seir do say, behold, the house of Judah is like unto all the heathen.
God said, look at Moab. Moab is the Chinese. Seir would be the Caucasians. Look at these dudes. Look at the chosen people of God. They become just like everybody else. We wasn't chosen by God. Never dealt with us. And look, now God ain't even dealing with them because they wanted to be just like us. Now look at what God says about Moab and Edom, which is Seir. Look how God thinks about them. And this is why God said, you become a degenerate plant. Read that in, Psalm 60 and 8.
Yes, sir. The book of Psalms, chapter 60 and verse 8. Moab is my washpot.
Moab's what?
Is my washpot.
Moab is a washpot to God. That's where all the dirt and the filth from your clothes come out. You might have some drawers that, you might have woke up too late. You might have thought it was, you was passing gas, but it ended up being something else. That's what you put in the washpot. That's what God think about Moab. Moab is a washpot to God. Read on.
Over Edom will I cast out my shoe.
Edom is a pest that you throw your shoe at. Get out of here. Don't nobody want you in here. Edom is a pest in the eyes of God. Right. Moab and Seir, Edom said, look, they become a washpot and a pest just like us. They wanted to be included in all the filthy abominations that we have. And they have lowered themselves into degenerate plants. Give me that in Jeremiah chapter 30, and let's read verse 12 through 14. We wanted to be like that, right? But look at the delusion within the occlusion of us in our mind. Jeremiah 30, let's read 12 through 14.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 30 and verse 12. For thus saith the Lord, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous.
Yeah.
There is none to plead thy cause.
To please thy cause. Go ahead.
That thou mayest be bound up. Thou hast no healing medicines. All thy lovers have forgotten thee.
All your lovers that you wanted to be like, God said they forgot about you. Go ahead.
They seek thee not, for I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased.
What is God saying? When the trouble began, when stuff got hard in your life, God said your enemies wasn't even thinking about you. You trying to be just like your enemies, but when things are going bad for you in the hood, when police brutality and just take this, white folk didn't start getting into Black Lives Matter until black people started marching and protesting for themselves. Before that, it wasn't a thought in their mind. Right. Chinese, it wasn't a thought in their mind to march for you. The Arab, none of them until black people started doing it on their own. When times get hard, your enemies ain't even thinking about you, God says. Read that again from the top, verse 14.
Verse 14. All thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not. For I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy.
So when things get hard and when things get bad in the black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian life, your enemies forget all about you and leave you right where you are. And you say, no, we want to be just like you. That is insanity. insane in the membrane. Give me that in Jeremiah chapter 4 and verse 30.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 4 and verse 30.
Yeah.
And when thou art spoiled, what wilt thou do?
When you are ruined, when you're destroyed, what you going to do, God's asking. Go ahead.
Though thou clothest thyself with crimson, though thou deckest thee with ornaments of gold, though thou rentest thy face with painting, in vain shalt thou make thyself fair.
Even though you try to look like your enemy, you get the blonde hair, you get the weave, you start dressing up in dresses, you start lightening your skin, you start celebrating what they celebrate, you start talking like they talk, you start eating like they eat. God says you make yourself fair in vain. For what reason?
Thy lovers will despise thee. They will seek thy life.
They hate you. They forget about you, and you try to include yourself in their stuff, in their heritage. They hate you, and then they're going to turn around and kill you, God says. That is the delusion of inclusion that we suffer from as a people. Give me that in Proverbs 3, verse 30.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 3 and verse 30.
Yep.
Strive not with a man without cause, if he have done thee no harm.
31.
Envy thou not the oppressor,
Right.
and choose none of his ways.
Why would God tell you not to envy your oppressor? Because in order to envy your oppressor, you have to serve your oppressor. He's an oppressor for a reason, because he rules over you. So if you envy him and you try to be like him, you're going to put yourself in unwanted servitude. How do we know this for sure today? It's true today. If you want to get into them Fortune 500 companies, you want to move up in the upper echelon, and you want to rub elbows with all of them, you know what you got to do? You better raise your voice, cut off your beard if you're a man. If you're a black woman, they don't even want your natural hair in there. You got to straighten out your hair to be up here with us. God says don't envy your oppressor, because in turn, you're going to have to serve your oppressor to be like them. Choose none of his ways. Give me that in Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 32. Let's see what God says about us trying to include ourselves. Read that.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 20 and verse 32.
Yep.
And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all.
What is that comes into our mind? Read.
That ye say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone.
God says that delusion of inclusion will not be in the mind of the people that he brings back to Israel. It will not be at all. You're not bringing the European mindset to the wilderness. Thus saith the Lord. Read the rest of that and see what he's going to do to you. Read on.
Verse 33. As I live, saith the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out, will I rule over you.
Now jump down to verse 38.
Verse 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels.
The ones that want to still be included in the European, the Asian culture, in the Arab culture. You want to be a damn Buddhist and Hinduist in the wilderness. Read on.
And them that transgress against me, I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel. And ye shall know that I am the Lord.
Do you that have that mindset of I want to be included, I'm American and I am proud to be. That delusion of inclusion, God said he's going to purge out the rebels. Give me that 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17 and 18. So in order not to get purged out when that time of judgment comes, what is the mindset and the actions that we got to take? Read that.
The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 6 and verse 17.
Yep.
Wherefore, come out from among them and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you.
That's Bible. God says, be ye separate from all the other nations. Go ahead.
And will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty.
So you better come out and be ye separate. Stop having the mindset of your included in the ways of Babylon the Great. You are one. You're proud to be this, that, and the other. We're all one blood and you don't see color. You better come out from that mindset before you get destroyed in the judgment right along with the heathen of the nations. And with that, we say shalom.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.